Hi there. This is Becky Berg, and I just wanted to share a few math options for you to extend and challenge your students. So some of the resources I'll be sharing with you will be from Go Math, and then a few others from Khan, Problem of the Month, and Dan Meyer's 3Acts. So as we step into this, please keep in mind that I really feel that the shift in our standards has been in regard to the mathematical practices. These are standards, and the idea is that we utilize some of these standards when we engage students in all of the content standards. So these are the vehicle for really rolling these standards out to your students. We want our kids making sense of problems, constructing viable arguments, and critiquing the reasoning of others, reasoning, being precise in vocabulary, and our math, for example, seeing structure and pattern so that we can get to the shortcuts. So please keep in mind that I feel the rigor within our standards happens as a result of using these practices in any content we teach. So let's take a look at a few of the Go Math resources that will help us extend and challenge students. In the student text, for example, you will see questions that have think smarter, go deeper within them. The writing in math or the math practices where they are explaining and justifying and finding patterns, those are really powerful. So having students solve these problems are going to be much more rigorous than problems that are perhaps naked number type problems. So keep that in mind. Also, in your Go Math chapter resources books, which you have copies of as the teacher, or you also can access them online by going to the icon that you see here. But by going to the Reteach Enrich section, you will see some great Enrich pages. So for example, here is an Enrich page that has students write a problem that can be represented by the model, then solve the problem. So anytime we have students create the context for a problem or contextualize versus being given a story problem and pulling those numbers out, that's a pretty powerful process. That definitely ups the rigor. So just an example of one of the Enrich pages. Some of these obviously are better than others, so you will have to be a wise consumer and really thinking about, does this truly extend my students to the degree that I need it to? Here you'll see another example where they're graphing and analyzing tomato plant data. Here you can see students are analyzing tables and graphs and stretching their thinking within this situation from the Department of Fish and Game. So you can see that some of these examples really are good enrichment activities. Another place you can look at is once again found in the Go Math chapter resource books under performance tasks. So these are performance tasks that are found in each chapter. Okay, so if we take a look, here's one example of the performance task for chapter 1, in which they're analyzing a cell phone plan and making some decisions, analyzing comparisons of talking on their phones and their plans. So just one example. This continues on. Earning a bicycle is another example of a performance task. So those are chapter performance tasks that we just looked at. These right here are critical area performance tasks. And what that is 3 or 4 chapters of Go Math make up Go Math's critical areas. So ideas that are kind of, that they have in common. They're very contextual. Usually these are at a DOK, depth of knowledge, level 3 or 4, so a little more rigorous. And various concepts are addressed around one topic. So that's also kind of nice. It's not just one chapter or idea, but multiple chapters. So here you can see this has to do with a water theme park and coordinate grid, and they analyze that information and make some decisions. So one example there. And you can see how it addresses various questions. Here they're estimating some things as well. So those are really powerful. Also, the critical area projects. You can see the icon on the left-hand side of the screen. These are project-based activities, and they're more open-ended than some. So here you can see part of the table of contents for 5th grade. And here you can get kind of an idea for what these critical area projects look like. So, and the standards that they relate to. Here's a space capsule, critical area project. So I think these are really powerful for our students and a little bit more open-ended, connected to real-world application type problems, which is also very important. Here you can see the reflection piece, kind of taking what they know and reflecting and applying. Okay, so there you can see there are quite a few options for us to use within Go Math. Another thing that some teachers have found valuable is the Writ Correlation. So I'm not going to go in this too deeply, but in the resource link that I share with you, you will be able to access more information on this. So the basic idea is that you can take a look at Writ scores and tie con videos to that Writ score so that students are working at that level. Con videos are quite procedural, not a big focus on the concept, so just kind of keep that in mind as you're having students utilize these. I think they can be a good piece to the pie, but they can't be the entire pie. Here you can see that the document that it provides correlates the map subgoals and the Writ ranges so that the alignment is there. These blue links go out to the videos, and they show what Writ range they fall under within the geometry domain. Another good option is Inside Mathematics. And this, and I apologize for the typo that I'm just noticing, this is a great website that includes problems of the month. And so they're geared around the same topic. But there's different levels, and I really like the idea of students can pass level A, which is usually at a primary level, kind of gets that background information in there, and then they can continue to pass the additional levels by solving these problems. They are pretty rigorous, but I have seen success with these problem of the month problems in various classrooms. So you can see that the rigor does indeed increase rather quickly. And I think because of the leveling, you could almost gamify this in some way, having them keep track of what level they've met and just kind of motivate them in that way. So as you go to this website, I will have the link for you from Inside Mathematics. Literally, there's a downloaded guide of how to use it. You can watch some examples and how teachers have utilized it so that you have an idea of kind of how this works. Another good option for our students is the Dan Meyer and 3 Acts. Dan Meyer is a very renowned math educator that really feels that oftentimes textbooks provide too much information and questions that basically tell the students what they need to do instead of them making decisions about the resources and the problem they're solving. So Dan Meyer has developed this concept of the 3 acts of a math story. So basically, the first act is where many times through a video clip, you introduce the central conflict of your story or task. So there is a specific problem given. Act 2 is the protagonist student overcomes the obstacles, looks for resources, and develops new tools. So you can see this is very much students are seeking out the information versus it being handed to them. And then Act 3, they resolve the conflict and set up a sequel extension. So really, they figure out what the problem is. Now they find resources and tools to help them solve the problem. They solve it, resolve the conflict, and set up a sequel or extension is that next option. So when you come to the link for the 3 acts, it will describe in more detail about how to use those. But also, what's really awesome, and I believe this spreadsheet will continue to grow, but by going to this spreadsheet, you are going to see several different 3-act lessons, if you will, that teachers have developed. And so if you click on one of those, and this is by Dan Meyer, you'll see kind of the hook, or that Act 1 where they watch the little video clip. This one looks like it's about 20 seconds. They're usually really short. And then you'll see the different acts, okay? And you can see what I like about this spreadsheet is it identifies what the suggested question is, because it doesn't even, usually it just shows the video and it doesn't tell you what the question is asking. They kind of decide, what do you think the problem is that we need to solve? And these are the suggested questions. And then here you can see what domain and what standards it relates to. So good stuff. Kids really engage in these and are motivated to solve them because they are so open-ended. All right, so as you can see, you have some great options from Go Math. You also have Khan NWA connections. I think that might help you be more intentional with Khan. Problem of the month, and then Dan Meyer's 3 acts. These resources can be found in a document so that you know where to find them at. As you go to tinyurl.com, you can go to tinyurl.com BPSGT and that will take you to this document. And within this document is a link to the presentation that you just saw, along with where to access the resources. And thanks for Hillary for getting this compiled here in this document. Thank you, and I hope this was helpful.